how does somebody who's interested in going to church determine what is a Bible-believing church that's worth their time versus a church that maybe has a Pride Progress flag hanging off the door and claims to be speaking in the name of the Gospels?
So let's go to the real issue here. A church that is faithful to Scripture, a synagogue that is faithful to Scripture, bears moral authority. I mean, it exists to say, this is what the Lord has said. This is what God requires. This is divine mandate. This is the morality that leads to blessing, and disobedience and disregard for this morality leads to cursing, you could say. So the bottom line is, if you're living in the culture that we're living in, where you want absolute freedom to do anything you choose to do, to establish your own set of rules, your own truth, your own standards of morality, the last thing you want is to step into some place that's going to call into question everything you're choosing to do in your life and is going to exercise authority over you. The church, to be the church, and I think this is true in Judaism with a synagogue, if you're going to be a faithful Old Testament synagogue, then you have to lay down the law of God. If you're going to be a faithful church, you have to lay down the standard. And it is not to crush people. It is to bring them into divine blessing. I mean, that goes back to Deuteronomy, right? Do this and you'll be blessed. Don't do this and you'll be cursed. So I think because the natural fallen heart is bent towards sin, the church is not an inviting place to go if it's faithful to proclaim the Scripture, because then that brings people under guilt. And why would they go to be basically held up before God and threatened with judgment? But that's the message of the church, and that's what leads to the good news of the gospel, that Christ died to pay the penalty for your sin, and through him you can have complete forgiveness of sin, so that the church becomes the family of the forgiven, and all the blessings of God are dispensed there.